it's killing me that I can't be in the same room with you, because that's really how I work best. And I wish we had that kind of conversation format, but I'm going to do the best I can. I did some slides for you because I thought that might be a little bit easier for you to watch, but I want to walk you through. There are three things that I want to cover with you this morning, and I know we've got limited time. The first is I want you to learn how to talk about politics or really hard things and your opinions in a way that somebody else can hear you. That's the first thing, because it is such an intense political climate that we have right now. And between this week and next week, it's going to get, I think, it could be kind of stressful. So that's the number one thing I want you to know. Number two is I want to teach you a little bit about yourself and about where you are developmentally. And then the third thing, I just have to throw this in. I want to apologize to you for the behavior of the adults in this world who have let you down. And I want you guys to know that you can do things differently in a way that is respectful, that is effective. And so that's where we're going to start. Before we start talking about the nitty-gritty part, and I know you guys have been practicing a little bit about reflection and things like that, we're going to start with just a little reflection that I like to do. It's a centering exercise, and sometimes it helps just to take a mental break from all of the stuff that you guys have going on. Your lives are so filled with school and family and friends and a lot of pressure. So as you look at this slide, I kind of want you to get inside of it, and I want you to think about what you hear. Do you hear the water rushing over the rocks? And as we are in the fall time of year, can you just feel the crisp breeze and the crunch of the leaves beneath your feet? You might hear the wind. When you do this, I just want you to pay attention to your breath and your breathing. The language on this slide is from a book that was just released by Shannon Lee, and she is the daughter of Bruce Lee. And for those of you who don't know, Bruce Lee was kind of the founding father of martial arts. He's the guy that knows how to do it really well. And the book is called Be Water, My Friend. And I love the subtitle because it says, empty your mind, be formless and shapeless like water. And it's a great place for us to start in a world that is rigid and inflexible at times. And so we might revisit this slide later, but I want you to be in a place where you can be formless and shapeless like water as you receive what it is I'm going to tell you this morning. Okay, now to the nitty-gritty part. Here's what I want you to know about your brain. And maybe you guys have talked about this already in the school. Maybe you guys have already heard about this. But what I want you to know is there are two times of life where we have this overdevelopment of gray matter in our brain. It starts from birth to age 3, but then it kicks in right where you are. It is actually my most favorite time of life because there's so much amazing developmental stuff that is taking place inside your body. We don't even know it. What happens is the base of the brain is what activates first, and in the base of the brain is your amygdala. Your amygdala holds your emotions and your memories in the same place in the brain, which is really cool because when you're in the car and you hear a song and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this song. I remember when we were on vacation and we were all dancing on the beach. That's all of that activity is taking place in the amygdala. The challenge for your brain right now is that the emotion center of your brain is twice the size than it will be when your brain's fully done with this process. And it won't be done, the whole prefrontal cortex doesn't fully form until you're into mid to late 20s. So right now, I want you to know that the emotion center of your brain is really huge. So almost everything you do comes with a lot of emotion. It's also why we feel like sometimes at your age, we're on this emotional roller coaster. And sometimes you think, what is wrong with me? And really there's nothing wrong with you. It's just your amygdala is getting really big right now. The next thing that happens is the interpretation center of the brain activates at your age. And what that means is the majority of preteens and teens will misinterpret most of what happens to them. So it's one reason I say to my teenage daughters, like, oh, honey, could you please pick up your shoes and take him to your room? And she goes, oh my God, why are you yelling at me? You were always yelling at me. Stop yelling. And she's freaking out. And I'm like, there it is, that interpretation center just firing away. If somebody doesn't text you back right away, or if somebody walks away from you and you're not really sure why, immediately you might be thinking, I can't believe they're blowing me off. I thought we were friends. What did I do? I can't, this is like the worst year of my life. I have no friends. And we go to this place of misinterpreting. So I want you to know this about you, because there's lots of room for misinterpreting, especially in this really intense political climate. The other thing that's happening with your developing brain right now is that everything goes so fast. It is actually very cool, like what's happening, but it's also why you're thinking about what you want to do before I'm even done talking. And so everything's going really fast for you right now. And I just want you to be aware of that, because if you're aware of that, then you're able to have a little bit more control over it. And that's why we're talking about it. The other thing I want to talk about, because we're talking about the emotion center of your brain, because we're talking about a heated environment right now, when we talk about politics or other things that are really strong for you, I want to talk about anger specifically. Anger is held in the amygdala, and anger is not like a good or bad emotion. It's just an emotion like any other emotion. It's what we do with it that's either good or bad. But I want you to understand why we get angry. There are two reasons why we get angry. We either don't feel heard or seen, or somebody crossed a line with us and we have to reestablish that line. And all of us can relate to that. So even little kids will be walking down the grocery store aisle and they'll say, I want that toy. I want that toy. I want that toy. And they get really mad because nobody's hearing them. But parents do the same thing. So parents will say, all right, kiddo, I want you to like pick up your shoes. Pick up your shoes. I said, pick up your shoes. And we get really mad because we don't feel like people are hearing us or seeing us. And then we also get mad when somebody hurts our feelings. So when I say crosses a line, they either hurt our body or they hurt our feelings. And so we have to reestablish that line. If you guys can remember those two things about why people get upset with you and why you get upset with other people, you will be so far ahead in most of the relationships that you have in your life, with your bosses, with your spouses, with your friendships, with your parents, with your teachers. So I want you to keep that in mind. And anytime you start feeling like you're getting activated, like you're getting really heated about something, I want you to think, which of these two reasons is this because? Is it because I don't feel heard? Or is it because I feel like somebody crossed a line with me? So, and if I had all of us together, we might practice some of this, and we're going to practice in just a little bit something else. But I want you guys to learn how to talk so somebody else can hear what you have to say. And it really begins with good listening, and it begins with good reflection. So if you really want someone else to hear your point of view, I want you to start by hearing what they are telling you and use their words, repeat it back, and then pause for just a second and ask if you got it right. Here's what that does. In a brain sense, that will slow down the reactivity of your brain. And when you can say, all right, let me see if I get this right. This is what I think I'm hearing you say, that you want this person to be elected because you feel like that's really going to impact you in this way. Or you don't want somebody to be elected because you're worried about how it's going to impact you in some way. And then you can say, did I get that right? I wonder what that was like. So you are walking through like what you believe somebody else is trying to tell you. And if you guys can practice this with each other, if you can practice that with your parents, if you can practice that with your teachers, as soon as your parents give you a directive, this is what I want you to do at home. When they say, okay, it's time to go set the table for dinner. When they say that to you, I want you to say, okay, what I just heard you say is that it's time for me to go set the table for dinner. I guarantee you, your parents will freak out if you say that to them. If they say, all right, it's really important that you get your homework done so we can get to bed on time because we have to leave early in the morning. If you say to your parents, what I hear you say is that it's really important for me to get my homework done so we can get to bed on time because we got to get up early in the morning. Did I get it right? If you use that technique, I guarantee you guys, you will get more of what you want in life. You will get it more from your parents and from other people. So there are a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind about how to hold some boundaries when you practice this dialogue with other people. When you want to explain how you feel, don't get bossy. So I never want you guys to tell somebody else what to do. You don't get to tell other people what to do. We don't have control over anybody else but you. When you use the words, you just need to X, Y, and Z, or you should X, Y, and Z. You should really listen to what I say. Like when we use that language, we're trying to tell other people what to do, and we don't get to do that. We don't get to control what other people do or say. So I want you to take that language out of your vocabulary. Don't name call. As soon as you use names, the other person will turn off and nobody will hear what you have to say. And it's important that you really hear this part, because I hear the adults in the world, excuse me, in the world talking about name calling. We actually do this in real life. And I'm amazed at that that's actually happening. But please don't name call, because it doesn't get you anywhere. And all it does is it inflames the situation. It makes everything worse, and you will never get what you want. But when you use language like that person's just ignorant, that person's an idiot, they might be stupid. If you use that, if your family uses that, it's a huge red flag, because you're not going to get the things that you want, and you will not be heard when you name call. So I want you to be careful about that. And it's interesting to me, because a lot of the messages that we're getting politically right now are that if somebody doesn't agree with you, then they must not have all of the information, or they just must not be that smart, or maybe they're not that intelligent. But that's not the case. So I kind of want you to remember this idea that really smart people actually can disagree. And really smart people can also be friends. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. I don't want you to make judgments on other people. So as soon as you say to somebody, you know what, you're wrong, or nothing you say is making any sense. Like when we accuse people of those kind of judgment calls, it doesn't get us anywhere either. So nobody's going to hear what you have to say as soon as you start attacking or making judgments about their arguments. But when you can hear them and say, let me practice this, I want to hear what it is you're saying. And then you say, this is what I think you're saying. Did I get it? And when you can pause and ask if you got the information correct, and they can say, yep, you got it, I guarantee you it will de-escalate the situation, and they're going to be much more open to receiving whatever it is you want to tell them. But I also want you to pay attention. I want you to pay attention to your own energy. If you start to feel out of control, if you are feeling overwhelmed and really angry, it's time to take a break. I want you to learn how to set boundaries with yourself and like take a break. You need to take a walk. You need to, take care of yourself. And you get to do that without placing blame on somebody else. So what I hear kids use is language like, you make me so mad. And I love that, because they don't really, I don't have that much power. If I had that much power to make people mad, then I would have the power to make people happy. Actually, if I had a superpower, that's exactly what it would be. I wish I could just go, poof, you're good. It doesn't work like that. So I don't have the power to make people mad. I don't have the power to make people happy. So you got to learn how to take care of your own mad. And we have to learn how to take care of our own stuff. But it starts with paying attention without placing blame on somebody else. The last part of this is I want you to learn how to stop the train. When the train is coming so fast at you, somebody is attacking you, somebody's going after you, I want you to learn this sentence. And I wish I would have learned this so much earlier in my life. I feel like it's kind of a newer thing for me. I want you to learn how to say, you know what, this doesn't feel helpful or productive right now, so I'm going to take a break, or I'm going to hang up the phone, or I'm going to stop texting, or I'm going to walk away. And you know what, I'll see you tomorrow, or, we'll, touch base again later today. That's what I want you to practice learning. I really want you to, sometime in your day to day, I want you to say, this doesn't really feel helpful or productive right now, so I'm going to go take care of myself. Now, you can't really say that to your teachers, so don't practice that in class, but you can practice it with your friends, or if there's an intense conversation. So those are the things, the guidelines that I really want you to pay attention to. If you get stuck in your own intensity and your own passion and your own anger about whatever the topic is, I want you to remember where we started. We started with water. And think about how Bruce Lee has done this. Be water, my friend, empty your mind, be formless and shapeless like water. That's where we need to go. So if you get lost and you're not sure where to start, that's what I want you to begin to learn how to do. I will also tell you as we go on the next couple weeks, especially the day of the election, the day after the election, if you start to feel like things are really intense around you, I want you to think about the things that you have control over. I want you to stop looking at social media. I want you to turn off the TV. I want you to not read any newspapers. I want you to set apart some time where you just get to focus on the things that you like. I mean, what are the things that you love doing? Play basketball, go for a bike ride, go for a walk, go listen to music, take a shower, take a hot bath. I want you to read. I want you to create things, but I don't want you to get involved in all of the things that you don't have control of in the world, because that's what creates anxiety. And that's what creates a lot of the intensity that we feel now. So having said all of that, I guess I want to do an exercise with, I need a volunteer, and I don't know how to do that. So John, maybe you can help me. I just need, and it doesn't matter to me what grade.
That is perfect. Let's see. Miss Neal, do you want to pick somebody in your class?
We got KK. Want to come up here? Where do you want her? Right there?
Yeah, wherever I can see her. Okay. Hi. Okay, I'm excited. This is so fun. Okay, so here's what I want to do. Is it KK?
Yeah.
Did I get it right? Okay. So KK, I just want you to practice reflecting what it is I tell you, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to say, let's see, hang on a second. I got to get something better than what I have.
KK, can you move a little closer so we can hear your responses a little better?
Over here, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Since I am in my kitchen, I have a candle. That's all I have right now. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say something, and I want you just to practice reflecting me. Okay, kiddo?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want you guys to know this is my favorite purple candle. I love it. It's my most favorite color. It's just this beautiful light purple color. It goes all the way down in the glass. I stare at it all the time. I love this purple candle. What is it you want to say to me, honey?
So what I'm hearing is that you really like your purple candle because of the color and the way it looks in the glass. Is that correct?
Beautiful. Yeah, that was perfect. I cannot tell you. Now, what do you want me to say? What do you want to know? What do you want me to know about this candle? Now you can react to it.
I really like that candle because it probably smells really good, and that really just lifts up my day.
Yes, love. But is it a purple candle?
Wait, it's not. That's not purple.
No, it's a yellow candle. So because I said it doesn't mean you have to agree with it. You just have to hear it. But I cannot tell you. That was beautiful. Thank you, KK. That was awesome. Yay. You guys, because I said it doesn't mean you have to agree with it. I can't tell you how many kids would tell me it's not purple, it's yellow. And they can't even reflect back what it is I said, because it's clearly not purple. It's just a yellow candle. And so for you to practice just hearing what I said, KK, that was impressive. But that's exactly the idea. So when somebody says to you, I'm really angry with you because you really hurt my feelings about, the conversation we had last night. If you really wanted to start that conversation in a healing place, you would say, oh, here's what I'm hearing you say. You're really upset with me because I really hurt your feelings from the conversation we had last night. Did I get it? And then that person will say, well, yeah, I just said that. And then you say, okay, this is what I want you to know. And then you can react to it. But what that does is it just slows down your reactivity. So you take all of the energy that's going into your amygdala and you shift it into your prefrontal cortex. And that's what will slow things down. And that's what's going to help you guys get through any conflict that you have. Okay, so I'm curious about what questions people have. Do anybody do you guys have a situation or anything like that that you would be brave enough to talk about in front of this entire middle division? And maybe not. We might be out of time.
We would have time for one question.
Okay.
Teachers, help us out. If there's anyone in the classroom who has a question, feel free to jump in.
You guys, I wish you the best. So empty your mind, be formless and shapeless like water. Be really flexible. And take care of you. It's so good to be with you this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.